Okay, so today is going to be a little bit different. This is basically a vocabulary day. So um, it's kind of a necessary evil. And I do apologize for this. I'll try and get through it as quickly as possible without leaving anyone in the dust here. So we're moving on to our next unit, which is all about angle pair relationships. So angles, formed by two rays, these kind of, you know, acute, obtuse, right, whatnot. Now, the idea of a pair is I need two of them. So we're always looking at two angles at a time. So we keep that in mind here. So we're not even focusing on measurements or anything today. This is completely just pairs and where they are at. So a linear pair are two angles that form a line. That's kind of the root word here, linear pair. So a line formed by two angles, those angles are called a linear pair. Now, those are the only two angles in the picture, and they have to form a straight line across the back here. So when you're looking at it, you're always trying to find that straight line across the back. Okay, the next one, vertical angles. So if I have two angles that are, two lines that intersect and form an X, I've created two pairs of vertical angles. I've got the pair that are across from each other here, 1 and 3, and then I've got another pair that are across from each other here, 2 and 4. Okay, so basically, those two lines intersect. I get a pair of linear angles, I get a pair of vertical angles, and on the other side of the line, I get another pair of vertical angles, another pair of linear angles. So now, moving on, the rest of the angles are going to be formed by what's called a transversal. Okay, these lines, this whole unit is about angles formed by parallel lines and a transversal. Now you notice these lines are not parallel. We'll get into the actual definition of parallel later, but I'm sure most of you know what parallel means. So the idea is these angles exist outside of parallel lines. Okay, so I'm sure that you've heard like alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles. Those pairs of angles exist without your lines being parallel. So what I've got here is a pair of lines, these guys here, and then I've got this third one that comes across both of them called a transversal. All right, so corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are in the same position. So what I mean by that when I say position, if you look at these angles as sets, so like I've got a set of 4 angles up here at the top, I've got a set of 4 angles down here at the bottom. If you kind of look at those as like around a clock, I've got this angle here that's in the upper left-hand corner of the set. Angle 5 is also in the upper left-hand corner of the set. So that is a pair of corresponding angles. Angle 2 and angle 6 are also a pair of corresponding angles. Angle 4 and angle 8, again, kind of in that position, bottom left, top right, those kind of words. Alternate exterior angles. So if you look at those parallel lines and the angles in between, those are kind of the ones sandwiched between the lines. Those are your interior angles. The exterior angles are the ones that are on the outside. So alternate exterior angles, they have to be on the outside. So that throws out 3, 4, 5, and 6. They're no good to us. Now, alternate, that word alternate means two different things. It means that I have one above and one below, and they're on opposite sides of that transversal. I'm going to have one on the left and one on the right. So there's two actual pairs of alternate exterior angles here. I've got angle 1 and angle 8, and I've also got angle 2 and angle 7. Okay, it should be pretty easy to use those definitions again. I've got interior angles this time. So interior angles are the ones that are sandwiched between the lines. So that's going to throw out 1 and 2 and 7 and 8. And then the alternate, again, means two different things. I've got one below and one above, and I've got one on the left and one on the right side of that transversal that made the angles. So my angles are 3 and 6. That is one pair, and the other one will be 4 and 5. Okay, consecutive interior angles. The word consecutive, if you're not familiar with that word, it means one right after the other. Okay, so like when you're running your schedule at school, consecutive hours are, first, second, third, fourth, one right after the other. So the consecutive interior angles, okay, basically they're the opposite of alternate. They're on the same side of the transversal. They're both interior. There's no such thing as consecutive exterior angles. Okay, I've often heard this called same side interior angles. It's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. They're about